Welcome to the Church of Tjolgtjar. Today we will continue the study of the Rosicrucian doctrine. The topic we will cover is reincarnation. Let us begin with another reading. The Rosicrucians hold as a very important part of the teaching the occult doctrine of metempsychosis, reincarnation, or transmigration of souls, the essence of which doctrine is the survival of the individual soul after it passes from the physical body in death, and is re-embodied in a physical body by rebirth after a sojourn in the resting place of the souls. The doctrine of reincarnation is one of the oldest of the human race. Traces of the teaching are found in the records of practically every one of the ancient races in all parts of the globe. In one form or another, it has existed in the esoteric circles to be found at the heart of each of the world's great religions, including Christianity. It has always been a cardinal doctrine in the religions of the Orient, and during the past 25 years has attained a wonderful revival of popularity among the thinkers of the Occident. The Rosicrucians' teachings hold that the evolution of man has been accomplished not alone by the general evolutionary trend of the race by which it moves forward from generation to generation, but also by the advance and ascent caused by the improvement in the reincarnating individual's soul, each step of rebirth tending upward and onward. As a writer has said, the teachings hold that evolution is caused by the soul striving, struggling, and pressing forwards towards fuller and still fuller expression, using matter as the material, and yet always struggling to free itself from the confining and retarding influence of the latter. The struggle results in an unfoldment, causing sheath after sheath of the confining material bonds to be thrown off and discarded, as the spirit molds matter to serve its higher purposes. Evolution is but the process of birth, of the imprisoned spirit unfolding and extricating itself from the web of matter in which it has been involved and enfolded. And the pains and struggles are but incidents of the spiritual parturition. The Rosicrucians have no special distinctive theories concerning reincarnation, but on the contrary accept the general teachings of the ancient occultists concerning re-embodiment of the soul. They regard rebirth as just as natural as birth, and consider that the race has at its disposal a vast volume of actual experiences of individuals which conclusively proves the truth of the doctrine. In fact, the Rosicrucian teachers make no attempt to argue the question with the student, but rather present the teaching as it comes to them, backed up by the wealth of authority on the part of the ancient schools and fortified by the innumerable personal recollections on the part of individuals. In most cases, the student himself has an intuition of the truth of the doctrine in the first place, and often has a greater or less degree of recollection of his former lives on earth. Reincarnation has always been the accepted belief of many of the most intelligent members of the race. It is found to have been the inner doctrine of the ancient Egyptians, and was held in the highest regard by the great thinkers of the ancient Western world. Plato's teachings were filled with the doctrine. The Hindu philosophies are based upon it. The Persian Magi held implicitly to it. The ancient Druids and the priests of Gaul taught it. Traces of the doctrine are found in the records of the ancient races of the Aztecs, the Peruvians, and the other peoples of the New World. The Eleusinian mysteries of Greece, the Roman mysteries of the Temple, and the inner doctrines of the Kabbalah of the Hebrews all were based upon the doctrine of reincarnation. The early Christian fathers, the Gnostics and Manichaeans, and other early Christian sects believed in it. The great philosophers, ancient and modern, treated it with respect. Professor Bowen says, "It seems to me a firm and well-grounded faith in the doctrine of reincarnation might help to regenerate the world. for it would be a faith not hedged around with many of the difficulties and objections which beset other forms of doctrines, and it offers distinct and pungent moves for trying to lead a more Christian life, and for loving and helping our brother man. The doctrine of reincarnation may almost claim to be a natural or innate belief in the human mind, if we may judge from its wide diffusion among the nations of the earth and its prevalence throughout the historical ages. E.D. Walker says, when Christianity first swept over Europe, the inner thought of its leaders was deeply tinctured with this truth. The Church tried ineffectually to eradicate it, but in various sects it kept sprouting forth. Every great intuitional soul has adhered to it. The Italian luminaries Giordano Bruno and Campanella embraced it. The best of German philosophy is enriched by it. The anthropological systems of Kant and Schelling furnish points of contact with it. Of English thinkers, the Cambridge Platonists defended it with much learning and acuteness, most conspicuously Henry More, and in Cudsworth and Hume it ranks as the most rational theory of immortality. Andre Pisani's book on the plurality of the soul's lives works out the system on the Roman Catholic idea of expiation. But, better than all the opinions and shades of belief found among the great writers and teachers concerning this important subject, is the inner conviction of all souls which have reached a certain stage of spiritual unfoldment, the conviction that I have lived before. We have all had that thought. Who among us has not felt this way? Surely, no one can make the claim that they have not, at the very least, experienced some form of déjà vu. The feeling of being there before, and doing that before, may have a profound effect on one's psyche. However, there exist many souls who choose to ignore this feeling, and more so the déjà vu experience shared by every living being on earth. Reincarnation is a common theme running through the lives of those in the occult movements. There are some who seek to explore this theme to its fullest extent and do so with lucid dreaming, hypnotic states, meditation, and the like. Tons of human beings experience the reincarnation memory and ignore it. Science tries to market it as a fully robotic and ultimately natural experience, yet misses the mark by overcompensation. Education on the fact that reincarnation is truth is not needed for the Tjolgtjarian. Reading on in the Doctrine, we get more than enough expansion on the subject than a peasant should receive in the eye of royalty. The author writes, the evidence of the truth of reincarnation, other than personal intuition and glimpses of memory of past lives, were needed. We would find such evidence in the phenomena of the infant prodigies and cases of childhood genius, instances of which abound on all sides. Children at a very early age manifest evidences of a deep knowledge of mathematics, music, art, etc., even in cases where the explanation of heredity fails to fit the case. The case of Mozart gives us a typical case of this kind. The child, Mozart, at the age of 4 was able not only to perform difficult pieces of music on the piano, but also to compose original works of merit. Not only did he manifest the highest faculty of sound and note, but also an instinctive ability to compose and arrange music, which ability was far superior to that of many men who had devoted years of their life to the study and practice of music. The laws of harmony, the science of commingling tones, was to this wonderful child not the work of years, but a faculty born in him. Another marked case is that of Zara Colburn, the mathematical prodigy whose feats attracted the attention of the scientific world during the last century. In this case, the child, under 8 years of age, without any previous knowledge of even the common rules of arithmetic, or even of the use and powers of the Arabic numerals, solved a great variety of arithmetical problems by a simple operation of the mind and without the use of any visible symbols or contrivances. He could answer readily a question involving the statement of the exact number of minutes or seconds in any given period of time. He could also state with equal facility the exact product of the multiplication of any number containing 2 or 3 or 4 figures by